Right where I am is where the stronger tornado came through. It was an EF2 with winds as high as 125 miles an hour. That second weaker tornado also causing damage, even crossing over M52. We have team coverage for you this evening. Sarah Yeager is in Bancroft where the tornado cleanup is underway. Famey Redwood is talking with a family in Durand whose home was destroyed. And Veronica Meadows is at a machine shop in Vernon Township. She was there today where they took a direct hit. Miraculously, there have not been any injuries reported. But between these two tornadoes, Shiawassee County reports more than 70 buildings were damaged.
The tornado actually...
Now with a closer look at the damage, we'll go back to Stephanie in Shiawassee County.
Truly incredible there, Jamie. Now, for people in Vernon Township, just how much damage this tornado left behind, it's still setting in. It ripped off roofs, destroying homes and businesses all along the way. Veronica Meadows is live in Vernon Township, where one homeowner has a long road ahead. And it's happened in a matter of minutes. That's really how people are describing this in the village of Bancroft about last night's tornado. It touched down just before 7 p.m. NBC 25's Sarah Yeager joining us live in Bancroft. And Sarah, can you tell us what the damage is like there? Back live in Vernon Township now, more than 70 buildings at least were damaged last night across Shiawassee County. For some people, their homes were leveled by these tornadoes. NBC 25's Famey Redwood has been with the Red Cross today looking at how they're helping people who lost everything. Famey? As you've seen, these tornadoes have caused a lot of damage in Shiawassee County, but this storm made itself known as well in Genesee County. We're getting damage reports in the Flushing area and Genesee Township. The winds actually uprooted this tree, which fell right into a house, trapping a man inside. This is on Deesh Road in Flint Township, just off Flushing Road. The police chief says it happened around 7:30 last night, bringing down some power lines even with it. Thankfully, that man stuck inside did make it out safely. At the Camelot Villas in Genesee Township, a mobile home was knocked right off its foundation. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. The fire department says 2 or 3 trailers also had their roofs torn off. Back live in Shiawassee County, we are going to go back to Veronica Meadows for another closer look at damage. Veronica? We are getting breaking news now from the National Weather Service. Breaking news from the National Weather Service confirming a third tornado, EF0. We are working to get more information about the path of this tornado. We'll continue that coverage when we come back. Stay with us. Yeah, thank you, Jamie. We have a lot of people who are going to have to rebuild from this. As we said, 70 plus structures that we know of so far in Shiawassee County. We will continue to follow this, and that will be on our sister station, Fox 66, tonight at 10, and also on NBC 25 News at 11. So again, for all the people in Shiawassee County, truly thinking of these people, so much that they went through, so many incredible stories of survival. We want to thank all of you. And we want to thank Jamie for keeping us updated on these tornadoes. Stay with us again. We'll be back on Fox 66 tonight at 10. For now, live in Shiawassee County, Stephanie Parkinson.
Right now.
And he just started shooting. He just out of nowhere.
Dozens of gunshots fired at a Mount Morris Township gas station. Police say an innocent grandmother was caught in the crossfire while she was pumping gas. NBC 25's Dave Bondi joining us now live at the scene. And Dave, I understand you actually heard these gunshots.
Stephanie, I was headed into work. Our station is right over there when I heard the shots. So I look over here at the gas station. This is where the shots were coming from. When I looked over here, I saw all of the chaos.
I heard bam, 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 bam. It said bam, 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 bam. The next thing I know, I heard this other sound, which you can tell that it was a return fire.
Police say 36 shots fired in the parking lot of this Marathon gas station in Mount Morris Township. Chief Terrence Green says 2 people were hit, one of them a grandmother.
Totally innocent. Her vehicle was occupied by 2 teenagers also. They were narrowly missed by gunfire.
The other person hit, the chief says, was a friend of one of the shooters. She is listed in serious condition. The alleged shooters, both in custody.
These individuals involved in this, they weren't thinking at all. It looks like this was, appears to be an ongoing feud between the 2 groups.
2 are in custody. Police are still looking for one other person. They don't have a good description of him, but they say he did get on an MTA bus here. If you know anything about that, please give them a call. We're live in Mount Morris Township. Dave Bondi, NBC 25 News.
Nearly 2 years after Lieutenant Jeff Neville was attacked at Bishop International Airport, the convicted terrorist, Amor Fatoui, the man who stabbed Neville, now knows his fate. NBC 25's Amanda Chodnicki was at the hearing today and tells us about the emotionally charged scene inside that courtroom. The victim's family making an emotional plea today in court as a judge is now working to decide how to sentence 4 teenagers accused of throwing a rock off an overpass on I-75. That rock killed Kenneth White. Today, NBC 25 was the only camera inside the courtroom when White's fiancée made that emotional plea to the judge. Veronica Meadows shows us that tearful testimony.
Trying to fight.
A day of breaking news out of Washington where the Mueller report is now finally out. It's been scoured by teams of people on both sides of the aisle, including Sinclair's chief political correspondent, Scott Thuman, who was in Washington with reaction from both the president and his critics. Republican U.S. Representative Paul Mitchell of Dryden tells us he always supported the Mueller report being released, but also says this report didn't shock him. And it's now hours after Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller's report was released to the public. Political reporter Mackenzie Frost spoke with an expert to put this 448-page report into perspective.
U.S. Attorney.
This weekend marks the 20th anniversary of one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. Coming up, we're hearing from one of the survivors of Columbine, how she's choosing to mark this somber occasion and turn it into a celebration. A plea for help from the Midland County Sheriff. This all revealed on body camera footage we just obtained. The footage is from last month when Sheriff Scott Stevenson was arrested for drunk driving in Kalkaska County. The Midland County Sheriff caught on camera, drunk and passed out.
What are you doing? You're on the side of the road, slumped over.
It took the Kalkaska County deputy 3.5 minutes to get his attention.
You need to wake up and talk to me.
Stevenson had stopped on the side of the road. He was in the front seat of this black sedan with his key fob in his pocket. A passerby actually called 911, fearing Stevenson was dead. Once he came to,
I don't know who you are.
I'm Midland County Sheriff.
Begging.
You can't take me in jail. I'm a sheriff.
Several times.
I've had a bad day.
For the deputy to let him off.
You know that morally, I can't just let you go.
After about 40 minutes, Stevenson agreed to a breathalyzer. He blew .23, which puts him well above the state's super drunk limit.
Hands down at your side.
Garfield Township Police Chief Jerry Cannon, who's a friend of Stevenson's, showed up after seeing the ambulance go by his house.
Jesus, Jerry, you can't do anything.
Stevenson kept pressuring Cannon to call in a favor.
There's things you can do to move around that type thing, and nobody knows, and whatnot. Jerry. Be
careful what you're saying.
Jerry, can you just take me to camp? Like, can you do that or not?
You gotta blow.
Those results were nearly 3 times the legal limits.
Well, I can't go to jail for drunk driving, man.
You created this situation.
Okay, but you can't take me, man. Don't do that. I'm a sheriff, man.
Stevenson pleaded guilty in court and did get a reduced charge of operating while impaired. He was put on 1 year of probation and will not serve any jail time. This swatting is very different from other ones. It doesn't involve video games here. This is Dave Zacher, and he was actually live online on his YouTube channel when someone made that phone call last night to 911 claiming to be him, saying he was murdering his own family.
My Dave just got a call. Chanel just shot his wife, possibly going to shoot his children. Myself and 87 are in rental.
It was a pretty normal evening for Pastor Dave Zacher until...
Well, let me show you how the devil's trying to stop this ministry.
He had just stepped away from his computer where he was preaching live on YouTube. Then his phone rang. It was the police.
We've got a call that you just shot and murdered your wife, and you're barricaded in there with your children. You're going to shoot your children. For a minute, I'm thinking it's somebody just prank calling me.
While Dave was trying to process what he was being told by the dispatcher, outside, police officers were watching his every move.
I got a male inside the house. Looks like a blue shirt, white male, middle-aged.
If I come out this far, I got my hands up.
Front door's open.
White male coming out to the door. His hands are up.
And there they are, all with their guns drawn on me, a whole SWAT team. I look to my left, I see police dogs with their badges. I see police hiding behind my neighbor's house in their yard, all with their guns drawn and saying, turn around, and we did. I came over right about to here, and that's when they cuffed me.
Police then searched the house.
1670, copy, house is clear.
And found nothing.
Challenging part, you don't know exactly what you have except the information that's coming over the radio at the time.
Grand Blanc Township Police Chief Ron Wiles says a call like this is not taken lightly.
Yeah, so certainly there's not many more serious calls than that. I mean, that puts everyone on high alert. And in this case, it was for a totally false call.
Wiles is thankful Dave listened to those officers and nobody was hurt. Dave is happy whoever swatted him didn't get what they wanted. Oftentimes, the goal is to watch this play out live over the internet. But when he stepped away from his computer, he did something he never does. He turned off his web camera.
It wasn't me that turned it off. I'm sure it was a higher power that wasn't going to let them win.
Dave hopes whoever did this is caught, but also says he's praying for whoever did this at the same time. Chief Wiles says tracking this person down will take a lot of time and a lot of technology, and if found, Dave, this person could face some pretty serious criminal charges.
What a scary situation. It could have ended up a whole lot worse. It has throughout the country.
It has, and Chief Wiles told me that. He's very thankful that this man and his wife were in the home at the time, that they listened to those officers and, just kept everyone safe.
Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Right now, Steph, just how long did it take to get this stubborn fire out?
Bill, it has been several hours and they're not done yet. As you can tell behind me, the firefighters are still here. That's because tires are highly flammable. This has not been an easy fire to fight for them. Take a look behind me. This is the area where the fire chief says it all started. This was the part of the building where the tires were stored. As you can see, construction equipment was brought in to literally tear the walls apart piece by piece to check and make sure they didn't miss anything. Now, at this hour, the fire chief tells me the fire is about 90% contained, but they're still here on scene making sure they didn't miss any hot spots. But it's still a lot calmer than a few hours ago. Take a look at this video we got when the smoke was just coming and out of the roof, pouring out of the roof, thick black smoke. The fire chief says that's what his crews came upon around 5:30 when they got here. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but the fire chief says the smoke itself was one of his biggest concerns.
The heavy smoke, the contaminants from the tires fire, that's always hazardous to breathe. So anybody that was downwind, and we certainly very quickly evacuated the area, made sure everybody was away from not only the building, but also out of the smoke downwind.
There were some cars here of customers. The fire chief doesn't think any of them were damaged in all of this. As far as what caused it, the chief says they really have no idea yet. They're just thankful nobody was hurt. Live in Flint Township, Stephanie Parkinson, Fox 60.